Hi, welcome back everybody. My name is Sierra and this is my bookshelf. I'm so sorry if you can hear my neighbors mowing their lawn. Today is Monday. It's Labor Day. So people are just getting errands done and I don't usually film today. Yeah. I'm so dehydrated. I got this giant Stanley dupe because I'm not paying $70 for a cup. I'm not paying $40 for a cup, but I paid $15 for this and I really love it. I got it at Marshall's. I think you can also get them at Home Goods. So if you wanted one, there you go. But anyway, today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite authors and some of my favorite books of all time, and even potential favorite authors. So for me, a favorite author is like, I'll basically read anything they write. It doesn't matter how many books they have out. It doesn't matter if I've read their backlog. Anything they write, I'm reading, and I mean it. And then for potential writers, it's gonna be like, I've only read 1 or 2 books by them, but I'm in the phase of just like loving their writing style. And yeah, that's like my end all be all. I love them. And my favorite, I'm gonna do like my top 10 of all time, because why not? And it will help round out this video. So first up, we have the icon, the legend, the soul. I love her. She's amazing. She's written so many amazing books, and unfortunately she passed away in 2019. But she is everything I want to be. She was a publisher. She was a professor. She wrote so many passionate and amazing literary works, and I could only be speaking of, yes, the one, the only, Toni Morrison. I love Toni Morrison. I don't even know. I feel like I'm being such a geek right now. Just like, I love Toni Morrison. Yeah, I love her. She's everything I want to be, and it just helps that she is one of the most prolific Black writers of all time. I love her writing style. I love her voice. I love pretty much everything about this woman. Okay, so I don't know. I think I got very passionate about it. Yeah. Anyway, let's rewind. Where did this love begin? This love began in 2023, January. It was my senior year, and I didn't want to stay on campus for the short term that we had. So my school has this kind of weird, it's not common, type of short semester where the whole month of January is its own semester, but 4 Januaries are required to get your degree. Thank God. Anyway, because I was a senior and I had an amazing advisor, he was like, okay, I don't want to stay this January. You don't want to stay this January. Like, tell me what you want to do and you can stay home and just write a huge essay at the end. And I was like, okay. Well, I have been wanting to read more Black literature, Black classics. And at that point, I had been taking his poetry class. So, you know, I had been reading poetry and I needed something different. No hate. I don't really love poetry though, but I needed something different. So I was like, yeah, I kind of want to read Black classics, whether it's one author at a time or just a collection of whatever. And he was like, okay, give me like 3 or 4 Black writers that you want to read, and you can just read their books for the whole month, like 1 book per week, which is actually a lot for me. Like, I don't read that fast. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I've been wanting to read a lot of Alice Walker, Toni Morrison. He was like, boom, Toni, you're gonna love Toni. Toni is who you want to be. I'm calling it now. You're gonna do Toni. And I was like, okay. So officially on my transcript, it's an independent study with Toni Morrison. But for the whole month, I was just reading her books. And he had assigned me to read The Bluest Eye, The Song of Solomon. What was the other one? Oh, The Source of Self-Regard, her collection of short story speeches and other collections. And then what was the other book? Beloved. I don't know how I didn't remember Beloved. He assigned me those 4 books. So The Source of Self-Regard, The Song of Solomon, The Bluest Eye, and I just said it, Beloved. So I read those, and I read The Bluest Eye because that was the one that I had, and I had to get the others from the library. When I tell you, I was sobbing, I was crying. And I'm gonna start crying now because The Bluest Eye is just such a beautiful book. It really got to the heart of what it is to be a young black girl in such a hateful world. And many of the trials and tribulations that Pecola, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, faced during that time of her young childhood. The story is about her. She's the main character, but it's never told from her perspective. And I feel like that's just such a nuanced discussion in and of itself. Like, Toni Morrison does a really good, she has very nuanced discussions without bringing it up. And she does a very good job of showing rather than telling. So there's 4 major parts to this story, and I'm not gonna give too much away, but I definitely recommend like reading The Bluest Eye if you've never read it. I will say, however, if you are sensitive to abuse or internalized racism or just any sort of sensitive racial topics, I would wait until you're in a better headspace, but I believe everyone should read that book. It is absolutely amazing, and I was literally sobbing by the end. I was just so heartbroken. It was just such a poignant book. But yeah, I would recommend reading that. And then I was just like, I'm hooked on Toni. I read the rest of the books. I watched her documentary, which what is the name of it? Let me look it up real quick. Oh, it's called Toni Morrison, The Pieces I Am. That made me cry because I didn't even realize she died in 2019, and that's when it came out. I just spent the whole month with Toni, and I have never been so excited about an author in my life. I've never felt so represented. I've never felt so seen as a literary black girl than when I studied Toni Morrison. So I don't know why it took me so long to figure out that she was who I wanted to be, but I want to be her when I grow up. But yeah, I will read anything Toni has written. There's a book that I found at my job. I work for a preschool. She wrote a children's book. I think it's called Peanut Butter Fudge or something like that. I don't know, but I want to read it. I'm going to read it to the kids because I will literally read anything Toni Morrison has written ever. I will read it. I also got on my shelf, where is it? Oh, got my own copy of Sula, which I'm putting back on my TBR shelf. This is my TBR shelf. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I got a copy of Sula. Toni Morrison is my number one forever and ever and ever. She can do no wrong. Nobody can speak ill of her. Ever. I think she's on, yeah, she's on my favorite books of all time list like twice already. So probably gonna be more in the future when I read more of her books. But yeah, love Toni. Love her. My second favorite author is Talia Hibbert. I love Talia Hibbert. I've read the Brown Sisters trilogy. I don't have the physical copies, but I asked for them for Christmas, for the second Christmas in a row, so hopefully people buy them for me. And I know I could have been buying them, but I just haven't seen them in store. And I don't know, it's such a long story, but love Talia Hibbert. I read the Princess Trap as well, The Roommate Risk, I'm reading right now. And then I just got this one, which she released it in May. I don't know, when did she release this? It was sometime this year. I believe this was in May. Because because I was thinking about getting it as a graduation present to myself, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna ask my mom to buy it as a graduation present, and then she didn't, and then I was like, okay, I'll just buy it the next time I see it, and I just hadn't seen it until a shopping spree I did 2 weeks ago. But yeah, and it's pink. Shout out to Eden. I'm gonna leave her TikTok below. She is so funny. I love her. She's just like, yeah, I'll buy any book with a pink cover. And I was like, she's so real for that. Anyway, it just reminded me of that. But yeah, there's no real story behind why I love Talia Hibbert, except for the fact that she literally wrote me as a character in one of her books. Dani Brown is me. If I were a British professor, which I very much could be, Dani Brown, Danica Brown, the second sister in the Brown Sisters trilogy, that's me. Black, bisexual witch who loves literature, studying misogynoir, is a professor, does a love spell, not love spell, but like love manifestation, gets the man of her dreams. He's grumpy as fuck and mean to everyone but her. Colors her hair or changes her hair every 2 weeks. Hello? I literally read out the description of Dani Brown to my best friend Maddie, and she's like, did Talia dream you up? Or like, are we in Talia's book right now? And I was like, come on, like, come on. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck? Weird. So instantly my favorite book. Also, Dani is so funny, and she's so real. She's so real. She like cannot do any wrong in my opinion. But I love that book series. I think it's probably my favorite by Talia Hibbert. But I'm excited to continue the roommate risk. And I did give Princess Trap like 4.5 stars, I think. I loved it. And also, I commented one time on Talia's Instagram, and she replied. And that's a lot. That's a lot for me, honestly. She knows I exist, is how I'm taking that. Oh, sorry, my foot is falling asleep. But yeah, I love Talia Hibbert. I'll read anything she writes, and I mean it. I mean it. Okay. If you are under the age of 18, you need to skip ahead because I'm not talking to you, and I mean it. Okay, I mean it. I'm not talking to you. I love Katee Robert. I'll read anything Katee Robert writes. Most of the stuff that I have read by her have been, what are they called? Audiobooks. They've been audiobooks on the app Hoopla, which is like a library app, which is where I find most of my smut. Love her writing. I have Neon Gods here, and I gave, what was the other one? I gave The Beast to my little sister to read. Love The Beast. 10 stars out of 5. 10 out of 10, 1,000 out of 10. Loved it. I don't think there was anything wrong with that book for me personally. Yeah, I'll read anything she writes. I read her Taboo series. Oh, and it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. But I want to finish the Dark Olympus series, which Neon Gods is the first one in that series. But I want the physical copies because I feel like that's an experience in and of itself. And I don't know. I might have to drop a good dime on Katee Robert because she has a lot of books. She has a lot of books. So I might just have to buy all the physical copies of her books. Is that crazy? Maybe. It's fine. It's literature. And also the, what is the other series called? I think it's called the Wicked Villain series. Yeah, I think that's the one that The Beast is from. I think that's the first one in the Wicked Villain series. So the second one is called The Sea Witch, which personally, I hate The Little Mermaid. I know, I'm sorry. I hate The Little Mermaid. I hate the whole storyline. Insta-love is an ick for me, and also, I don't fuck with it. But I might just have to read it just to see what it's about, get through it, and continue with the series. But also my my best friend Monica, I got her The Vampire Queen. I think that's what it's called. The Vampire Queen for her birthday. Let me see. Oh, Court of the Vampire Queen for her birthday this year, and she read it and she was like, ah, and she immediately bought the rest of them. And she also bought the whole Dark Olympus series. So yeah, yeah, she's been hooked onto Katie Robert as well, and she's also read the Taboo series as well. Yeah, yeah, we're yeah, we love it, we love it. um I will read anything Katie Robert writes. I don't really feel like there's ever been something that she has written that has made me uncomfortable, but I do know that she could, like, it could be triggering for some people. So I would recommend looking up a content warning or a content list for certain books of hers, because like The Beast has CNC in it, and personally that doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of other people. But you know, take every precaution when reading stuff like that. So yeah. On to the potential favorite authors. Now, me personally, I'm gonna speculate a lot about whether or not I'm gonna like a book. Go back to the fantasy video if you remember me talking about ACOTAR. I loved the first book. I bought the rest of the series immediately, and then I regretted it. So now I have a probationary period for some authors, where if I read one book by them and I'm loving it, they're on probation, okay? They're on a probationary trial period where I'm like, okay, I'll read a second book by you, and if it fucks me over, you're done. So yeah, there's 3 authors that I read that I can see myself loving their books, but they're in the probationary period because I haven't read any other books by them. So yeah, the first one is Geneva Rose, which this book right here, it was like oh my god, I started this book in January and I read it on Libby as an audiobook. I promise I'm not sick again. I know I probably traumatized you guys with the last video. I'm not sick again. I'm going through something, I don't know, but I'm not sick. Anyway, yes, Geneva, love her. I also started following her on TikTok, and she's absolutely fucking hilarious. She's absolutely hilarious. But this book is about, let's read the front. His mistress is dead. His wife is his only hope. So this is about a couple, what's their names? Sarah and Adam, right? My sister's a Gemini. Anyway, Sarah and Adam are married, okay? Sarah is a successful lawyer in Washington, D.C. Adam is a loser writer who hasn't written a book in years. They're married. Adam has a complex where he doesn't like when women are succeeding, and he feels like a dope about it. Sarah is a perfectly fine person. She is a good person. I love Sarah. Adam is a loser who's like, my wife is making so much more money than me, and it's emasculating me because I don't want to write anything that's not perfect. I don't want to freelance. I don't want to do all this stuff. So I'm going to cheat on her. And so he cheats on her. And he's cheating on her. And he keeps cheating. And she's like, let's just go away for the weekend. Like, I'll meet you at the lake house. I'll get this trial done. And it'll be just us 2 for our 10th anniversary. He's like, okay, yeah, perfect. Sounds great. And then he's cheating before she can even make it to their lake house that she paid for. Like, anyway, he's cheating, and he spends the night cheating, and he wakes up to continue cheating, and his mistress is found dead in his bed. And so because his wife is a defense attorney, a criminal defense attorney, he's like, ooh, I fucked up. I have to call my wife for help because I'm about to be pinned for murder. Yeah. 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 See, I see you, because that was me too. I was hooked from there. Honestly, it could be your run-of-the-mill typical thriller, like you could guess it at the end. I don't care. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed where it went, and I recommended this book to 2 other people, my mother and Maddie, and they were both gagged. Gagged. Okay? Gagged. Okay? They loved that book so much, and I love that book so much. So I picked up her most recent thriller, You Shouldn't Have Come Here, when it was 30% off on hardcovers. And this is the last copy in the Barnes & Noble in Roanoke. And I was like, this is a sign I have to get it. Did I read it? Not yet. Because, well, finals. But I am very, very far in. Not very far, but like maybe about 10 chapters in. The fact that it's setting up like a romance, and that's the point. So there's no spoilers here. There's no spoilers. This is in the synopsis. It's setting up like a romance. There's this woman, her name is Grace. She is, I don't know, we don't know her backstory, but she is from New York. She is going to Wyoming for fuck all, who knows? And she rents an Airbnb from a man named Calvin. Calvin is a ranch hand, not a ranch hand, he basically owns the farm, but he rents it out to Airbnbers who like to be in like, I guess the middle of fucking nowhere. I don't know. But it's setting up like a romance, and Grace is feeling Calvin and Calvin is feeling Grace, and there's just too many secrets between them for this not to end badly. And that's pretty much all I know at this point. Also there's a missing girl. And everyone in this town is like really sketched out about the missing girl, and then this random woman shows up like flirting with Calvin, like the town sweetheart. And so they're just like very suspicious for some fucking reason, and I haven't found out the reason yet. So yeah, that's where we are right now, and I'm eating it up. It's really good. I love Geneva's writing. It's just so good. And also the way she writes men feels very accurate. It doesn't feel like how men write women, you know? Like, I feel like if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. But yeah, it's on my TBR. Maybe I'll go make another video about the stuff that's on my TBR shelf right now, because it's a lot of stuff, and I bought a lot of new books. So yeah, maybe I'll do that after this. Who knows? But yeah, Geneva Rose is on my potential. Like, if I really love that one right there, I'm gonna have to find a 3rd book by her, which I think it's called One of Us is Dead. And then if I love that book, then I'm reading anything she writes, which I probably already will. But yeah, the second potential is Ana Huang. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Ana Huang is the writer of, the Twisted series, which is also on my TBR. I read Twisted Love, the first one, and this is Twisted Games. If you don't recognize those books from TikTok, then I don't really know how to help you. Twisted Love was so silly. Personally, I did not see it as a dark romance. I don't think any of these really feel like a dark romance. But Alex Volkov, that's my man. And I'm ready for Reese Larson. And Princess Bridget and what is to come there, because a lot of people say that this is their favorite of the series because Reese is, you know? So yeah. I think she also has another series called the King of Sin series. I think it's called the King of Sin. I don't know. Each book is named like the King of whatever, 7 Deadly Sin. Or maybe it's just called the 7 Deadly Sin series. I don't fucking know. But she's releasing her 3rd one this year. And I think it's already the King of Pride, the King of Wrath, and I think the next one is the King of Greed. I may be super wrong. I don't know, I haven't read it. But I'm really excited to read Twisted Games because she knows how to write a spicy scene. She knows how to write a spicy scene, okay? And while I do not condone violence, the men in these books can get pretty violent for their ladies, and I love that. I'm here for it. So, yes, we will see how this goes. My third and final potential is the one, the only Rebecca Yarros. I know, I got the physical copy. Baby girl, when I tell you the book hangover I had with this book, oh my god, it was audacious, that book hangover. Boy, oh boy, is this book good. I think this came out in February of this year, 2023. And the next one is coming out in November. I think it's November. And so for Christmas, obviously I asked for special editions of both books. And if that one ends badly, I'm gonna be upset, but also if it's like a good badly, if it ends like a good badly, then Rebecca is getting bumped up to number 4 on my top favorites. Like, loved. And it's not even just the writing style that I really loved, it was just the world building and how intricate it was without being, you know, obnoxious about the whole system of magic and whatnot, you know? I really loved it, and it made me a fantasy girly, okay? It made me a fantasy girly, and I'm really glad I listened to the audiobook first because I would not have been able to pronounce any of the names in this. But I think before I read, I think it's called Iron Flame. Before I read that one, I'm going to reread this one, but if I get the special editions for Christmas, I'm going to annotate this copy, this Walmart version, and keep the other copy as just like my regular schmegular reading for pleasure, recurring reading, whatever you want to call it, book. But yeah, Rebecca knew what she was doing with this one, and I'm so excited about the next one. I'm going to rapid fire my favorite books of all time, just cause, you know, I feel like it would give you a well-rounded image of me as a reader and the things I kind of like to read. So, number 1, Twilight. Oh, love this one, love this. I don't have this copy on me, but number 2 is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I actually lent it to the friend who lent me Mistborn, so I don't have my copy on me, unfortunately. Number 3 is probably gonna be Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I've read this book so many times. I love it. I love it. Number 4, The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. If you haven't read it, read it. If you have sensitivity to like stuff about the Holocaust, probably don't. But it's a YA book, and I think that everyone should read it at least once. Number 5 is Fourth Wing. I don't have a physical copy. Number 6 is Take a Hint, Dani Brown, as for the reasons that we just mentioned. Number 7, The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I also don't have this copy on me because I lent it to my little sister, but number 8 is The Beast by Katie Robert. Number 9 is not necessarily this book, but I don't have another Rainbow Rowell, but it's Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I'm Southern, I say Rowell. I don't know how to say her last name. Rowell. And number 10 is, I don't even have a copy of it. I don't even think I've ever seen like a physical copy of this book, but it's The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Yeah, that one is batshit and I fucking love it. Like, that's like a female rage that I love. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope it won't be too long after editing, but I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.